With juvenile crime on the rise throughout the state, we sit down with federal leaders to hear their crime-fighting plan. Two top prosecutors propose new plans to target juvenile crime, how they're going after the adults they believe are behind it. And a community on edge after a teen is shot in broad daylight. Why some say they don't feel safe in their own neighborhoods.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We have breaking news out of Washington, D.C. Rudy Giuliani is ordered to pay nearly $150 million to two Georgia election officials for defaming them over the 2020 election conspiracy theories. Giuliani, who was Donald Trump's lawyer, is in this case. A jury awarded Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss damages for defamation and emotional distress. Giuliani admits to falsely accusing the women of ballot fraud, but his lawyer argues he didn't cause the harassment the women faced. During the trial, they described racist threats and other harassment. He claims the jury was unfair, vowing to appeal the ruling and possibly ask for a new trial.
The absurdity of the number merely underscores the absurdity of the entire proceeding, where I've not been allowed to offer one single piece of evidence in defense.
Well, the former New York mayor is already showing signs of financial strain as he faces multiple legal challenges. This is a developing story, so stay with Fox 45 News for the latest updates on air and online. Mackenzie.
Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Mackenzie Frost, and we have team coverage tonight of the ongoing juvenile crime throughout the state as pressure mounts to hold young offenders accountable. In a few moments, Amy Simpson hears from Baltimore residents who say they don't feel safe in their own neighborhoods. But first, Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell sat down with the U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland, as well as the acting marshal, and has a look at their crime-fighting strategies.
These federal leaders believe the reduction in homicides and shootings across Baltimore is in part due to the result of the collaborations between local, state, and federal partners. And in their case, the strategic and more aggressive approach to getting fugitives off the streets. Murderers, shooting and carjacking suspects, drug traffickers. For years, the U.S. Marshals Service has been going after Baltimore's most violent criminals. This year, more so than ever.
Our operations have ramped up since the new U.S. Attorney came in.
Acting U.S. Marshal Matt Silverman is talking about Maryland's U.S. Attorney Eric Barron, who back in August 2022 announced new actions his office would take to address the violence in Baltimore. His approach also included requesting the U.S. Marshal Service conduct more raids and warrant sweeps.
Our strategy has been focused. It's been aggressive. We're all on the same page.
We have always done our operations the way that we do our operations, and we've always left it open to the U.S. Attorney to ask for assistance from the Marshal Service to do additional operations.
Those operations, Silverman believes, has contributed to Baltimore's historic reduction in homicides and shootings, the result of the work and partnerships between federal, state, and local agencies.
It's one of the many reasons right now that we are coming up on historic lows for the last many years within Baltimore City.
But of course, challenges remain and hurdles still exist. The federal agency is seeing more cases where the fugitive wanted is a juvenile.
Most recently, we're seeing an extraordinary uptick in violent crime involving juveniles.
Silverman sees it as Baltimore's biggest challenge right now when it comes to the city's crime fight.
Crime-wise, right now in Baltimore City, I would have to say the biggest issue that we're facing is going to be juvenile crimes. Juveniles across this state and across other states, they have that sense of freedom that if they get arrested, nothing's going to happen.
A problem echoed by local police, prosecutors, and the people of Baltimore, calling on lawmakers for change. The hurdle Silverman discussed with me centers on staffing. Ideally, he says he'd like to add 10 deputy marshals. Recruitment and retention, as we've heard from other law enforcement agencies, a big problem. In North Baltimore, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Alexa, thanks. And two of the state's town prosecutors are also speaking out about juvenile crime. Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates and Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy are looking to combat juvenile crime by going after adults who may be contributing to the crime problem. Bates and Braveboy are proposing several new pieces of legislation hoping to make changes to the Child Interrogation Act, expanding probation for juveniles, and for the first time go after people they believe are behind some of Baltimore City's and PG County's most problematic crime.
Our bill to expand the gang statute here in Maryland. What we're seeing is a growth of what we would look at as neighborhood crews or other groups of individuals who are loosely affiliated but are being or who are working together to commit offenses in our communities, namely carjackings.
Bates and Braveboy will present their proposals to Annapolis next month during session where juvenile crime is expected to be top of mind for many lawmakers.
We determined whether this was an adult or a minor.
The call said he was 16.
He's 16.
Those words heard over police radios in the city's northern district yesterday after a teen was shot in Medfield. Baltimore police say the 16-year-old suffered non-life-threatening injuries. And now that community left on edge after a brazen crime committed in broad daylight. Fox 45's Amy Simpson spoke to residents about their concerns.
Yesterday afternoon, this neighborhood was an active crime scene, but tonight, waiting for answers about another case of violence involving a minor. After 2 p.m. Thursday afternoon.
The person being discharged by on West 1st Street in Falls Road. From Unison Road.
Broad daylight in North Baltimore's Medfield neighborhood. This was the scene after police say a 16-year-old boy was hit by gunfire, a stone's throw from both TV Hill and the busy Green Spring Tower Square shopping center along 41st Street.
We determined whether this was an adult or a minor.
The call said he was 16.
He's 16.
Northern District Radio Communications revealing the back and forth between dispatch and officers on scene.
We got 2 gunshot wounds, one to his looks like left hand and one to his left back area.
As police put up crime scene tape and investigators searched for evidence, neighbors watched from their porches.
It's extremely disturbing. It's not a shock to me. I mean, more recently in this neighborhood, maybe more shocking because the neighborhood has changed a lot in the last 3 decades.
But just 6 weeks ago, about a block away in the same Medfield neighborhood.
They were young, really young kids. I could tell they were young. In reverse, back and shooting.
This man told Fox 45 News he witnessed brazen gunfire and a car chase in the middle of a weekday.
And he was just like this, pow, pow, pow.
Though police said the reports of gunfire were unfounded, this man blamed kids as neighbors responded cleaning up the aftermath.
It's crazy. These juveniles are out of control. Something's got to be done.
This Medfield man also among the chorus of people who are saying they don't feel safe in their own neighborhood.
It's scary. It's scary to even walk the streets at nighttime, go to the store. It's scary. It really is. People getting robbed, carjacked. It's enough's enough. So it's got to be a change.
But back to yesterday's shooting here in Medfield, neighbors told Fox 45 News it happened as students were seen walking home. But today, no answer when we asked Baltimore City Schools if that 16-year-old is a student at the nearby Academy for College and Career Exploration. Meantime, neighbors quick to assume Thursday's gunfire, another case of teen-on-teen violence.
I'm imagining it's probably another teenager that shot him with some kind of beef.
But also questioning why.
I think that's sad, you know? I mean, what reason is there to shoot a 16-year-old boy?
Today, I did ask BPD what may have led up to this shooting here yesterday, and for any suspect information, the department telling me no updates. In Baltimore, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Thanks, Amy. Fox 45 News is hosting our own town hall on public safety next week. We invite you to join us. City Councilman Eric Costello and mayoral candidate Sheila Dixon will be on the panel. It takes place Wednesday, December 20th at 7 p.m. at Leaden Hall Baptist Church. You may have left your coat at home with those unseasonably warm temperatures today, or you bundled up like me because you were unprepared. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is here now to let us know if warmer weather is here to stay. Jasmine, it was very warm outside and the sun was out, but I know it's not going to last.
Yeah, it was very warm. We had lots of sunshine, a great start to the weekend. And if you weren't able to enjoy the sunshine today, Tomorrow looks good with those warm temperatures, but we have a weather maker that's going to end our weekend. Notice all of these areas in red looking at the potential for heavy rain. This does include Maryland as we get ready for a low pressure system off the coast of Florida to move northeast. This will lead to areas of heavy rain on Sunday and once again on Monday, possibly having an impact on some of your plans, even your morning commute on Monday morning. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at the timing of the rain and how much we could see in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
I'm Janae Bowens in Washington with a look at a push for more transparency when it comes to foreign donations.
Israel says its military accidentally killed 3 Israeli hostages today, while the Biden administration is concerned over growing civilian casualties in Gaza.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
The Israeli military says it accidentally killed 3 Israeli hostages today in Gaza City. Officials say Israeli soldiers mistakenly identified the 3 Israelis as a threat and opened fire on them. Those hostages were identified as 3 young men taken by Hamas on October 7th. The Israeli military believes the hostages had either fled their captors or been abandoned. An Israeli airstrike also reportedly killed a Palestinian journalist today. That's according to Al Jazeera, who says a drone strike killed one of its cameramen and wounded the network's chief Gaza correspondent. The Biden administration has expressed concern over Israel's failure to reduce civilian casualties. 3 more packages for Ukraine have been announced since last month when the White House said that funding had run out. That's because it's coming out of 2 sources. One is called the Presidential Drawdown Authority, or PDA, which allows the U.S. to dip into its current stock of weapons. The other is the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, funding long-term weapons contracts. That one is now empty. And as the PDA draws down, the White House is getting impatient, waiting on Congress to put up more.
Instead, they're heading home for the holidays, while Ukrainians are heading right back into the fight. They'll face more shelling, more air attacks, more cold, dark nights, and just over the last 24 to 48 hours, we've seen additional airstrikes by Russia on critical infrastructure.
The main reason why aid is still flowing has to do with the Pentagon overstating the value of the weapons it had already sent to Ukraine, essentially overcharging by more than $6 billion and leaving Ukraine with a store credit of about $4 billion. And foreign governments send billions of dollars to American colleges and universities. And now those institutions are facing growing scrutiny over how those funds are being used, as well as China's influence on American higher education. Sinclair national correspondent Janae Bowens explains.
Our nation's top colleges and universities on the hook for receiving billions of dollars from foreign countries.
Unfortunately, many schools fail to report these foreign gifts and funding, leaving foreign actors with a stranglehold on U.S. academic institutions.
House Republicans say as much as $13 billion in foreign funds to universities from adversarial countries could have been unreported.
We permit hostile foreign actors like Qatar, Iran, and Communist China to buy influence on our college campuses.
Full Measure's Cheryl Atkinson recently reported Texas A&M has accepted more than $1 billion from Qatar for projects, including sensitive nuclear research. Texas A&M also has a campus there.
We know that Hamas, their leadership, lives in Qatar and is supported by the Qatari regime. Are they sharing some of this military secrets or research with them?
The House passed a bill with bipartisan support just a few days ago that lowers the minimum foreign gift reporting threshold for colleges and universities. More than a dozen higher education groups sent a letter to House leadership opposing the bill, calling it problematic, saying it will curtail international research and collaboration. Confucius Institutes are also under scrutiny. Now, those are Chinese language and cultural programs at American universities and colleges that are partially funded by the Chinese government. Although many schools dropped the Confucius Institute name, experts say China is still sending millions of dollars to colleges to fund educational programs.
They generally include staff brought over from China. And unfortunately, those staff tend to be spies against other Chinese and against American technology.
Now, Mackenzie, there's proposed legislation that would prohibit federal funding to schools that host these Confucius Institutes.
Today, how widespread is the lack of transparency when it comes to colleges and universities not reporting foreign donations?
Yeah, so it's pretty big. A Senate report from 2019 found that up to 70% of all institutions failed to comply with current legal reporting requirements. Mackenzie?
National correspondent Janae Bowens, thanks so much.
Right now, you're taking a look over Baltimore and Towson, where it's nice and dry with clear skies, mild temperatures. Then on the HD radar, not too much happening, but we are getting ready for our next weather maker, and that could have an impact on some of your weekend plans and even your plans early next week. 49 currently as temperatures begin to fall. We've got nice and clear skies and light winds out of the west-southwest. We're seeing temperatures mainly in the 40s, a couple spots still holding on to the 50s. Westminster, one of those higher spots, but it's nice and clear all around the state. And if you'll be going anywhere this evening, you will want the layers. Tonight, our temperatures drop to the 20s and the 30s. We'll start off with cold weather for the morning before our warm up. High temperatures will reach the 50s once again, keeping us well above average for this time of year. You'll be able to enjoy some time outside before that weather maker arrives on Sunday. We have high pressure over our region, keeping us dry, but once that high pressure system departs tomorrow, our next weather maker moves in and it leads to rain. Notice on the future scan, we are looking at a dry start to the day tomorrow. By the afternoon, our temperatures will reach the 50s, then clouds begin to move in on Sunday. We'll start the day with dry weather and cloudy skies, but by the afternoon, showers begin to move across our state. The showers will continue off and on throughout the afternoon and the evening, even into the night, and at times there could be some heavy rain. We'll wake up to rain on Monday morning, then later in the day, the chance for a couple of scattered showers, possibly a few flurries to our west, but most of us are going to stay dry as we start Tuesday. We are, though, looking at a big cool down following that weather maker. In terms of rainfall totals, we could have some heavy rain, and that'll lead to several inches of rain. We could be looking at 1.5 inches, possibly even 3 inches for some areas. Make sure that if you'll be out and about on Sunday or Monday, you have the rain gear with you. We're looking at numerous showers across the state on Sunday, scattered on Monday, and then we're getting ready for a dry pattern to finish the upcoming work week. 35 for the low tonight with mostly clear skies. Then tomorrow, highs around 57. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at how long we stay in the 50s and when to expect that cool down in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Dazzling sunrises greeted the nation this week, from the crimson red dawn over the Columbia River near Portland, Oregon, to a purple and orange sky just before sunrise over Nevada's Pine Nut Mountains near Reno. Moving east, we have this glorious sunrise over Green Bay, Wisconsin, and in central Illinois, the waxing crescent moon watches over a post-twilight sunset.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
Starbucks could be forced to reopen 23 stores across the country, while a federal agency is accusing the company of unfair labor practices. Starbucks could be forced to reopen 23 stores nationwide over accusations of unfair labor practices. In a new report, a federal agency claims the coffee giant unlawfully closed the coffee shops to dismantle a nationwide union campaign. In tonight's Assignment America, Jackie Kent from our Sinclair sister station in Seattle explains what's next.
It's a little emotional, it's a little nostalgic. It's been 18 months since it was shut down, I believe.
Starbucks barista Mari Cosgrove says they still miss working at 505 Union Station. They transferred stores when Starbucks shuttered 6 Seattle area coffee shops last year, citing safety concerns. But Cosgrove claims that's not the whole story.
I believe the announcement came less than 2 months after we had voted to unionize.
The National Labor Relations Board just filed a new complaint, alleging Starbucks violated labor laws by closing stores due to union organization, including multiple Seattle coffee shops. The country's top labor body is seeking an order for Starbucks to reopen these 7 Seattle stores and 1 in Everett, and offer workers their jobs back.
This is my livelihood. I did take an hour cut when I had to transfer. I ended up having to step down from a supervisor.
In response, Starbucks denies allegations of union busting and says it respects workers' rights to unionize. It claims the closures followed regular business reviews that looked at factors like safety, whether the store format or size supports operations, and if a lease is expiring and whether they have the opportunity to renew. If a settlement cannot be reached between Starbucks and the union, this case is set to go before an administrative law judge in August.
By the time this goes to court, it will have been 2 years since my store was shut down. And if they can't help me in this situation, I hope that at the very least we set precedent so other workers aren't impacted in the same way.
Now, a Starbucks spokesperson says the claims against the company lack merit and that the company plans to defend its business decisions at the court hearing next August. Now let's get your 10-day forecast with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax.
Thanks, Mackenzie. We are in for another beautiful day tomorrow as temperatures reach 57, 9 degrees above average. Then we have our weather maker on Sunday. That's going to lead to rain across the region, and at times there could be heavy rain. 56 for the high. 55 on Monday as scattered showers continue. Will be cooler and drier on Tuesday, 43. Then we're looking at a rise in temperatures, 48 on Wednesday, 51 on Thursday, upper 40s again on Friday. And for the rest of the weekend, temperatures stay close to average in the 40s and 50s. Mackenzie?
Jasmine, thanks. And finally tonight, the Marines are spreading some Christmas cheer. Marines gathered at the Palladium today to give out toys to thousands of families through the Toys for Tots program. It's all to support families in need this holiday season. They'll be back again tomorrow from 8 in the morning until 5 in the evening. And that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next, and we'll see you again at 10 o'clock.